for our heritage, our tradition, our future. Today, we become...
In this episode of Mutual and Federal Premier Interschools Rugby, we look ahead to this Saturday's derby between rivals Paarl Boys High and Paarl Gimnasium, live on SuperSport. Each year, the first weekend of August brings the town of Paarl to its knees. The peaceful and picturesque Boland town is divided down the colour lines of Boys High Blue and the green, gold and maroon of the Gimmies. It is the annual Paarl Interschools derby, arguably the single biggest schoolboy rugby match in the world. Once again, Mutual and Federal Premier Interschools Rugby is proud to bring you this age-old rivalry between the Gul pillar of Paarl Boys High and the Bloedworse of Paarl Gimnasium.
The entire place is overtaken by Interschools fever. People get on board with it in such a big way that I have goosebumps talking about it now.
It's sort of been just an amazing journey to be part of that Interschools fixture. It really is something special, not just on the day, but the actual build-up with all the teams participating and playing against each other.
Ja, het is nou een van die hoogtepunte in die hoërskoolloopbaan. Elke man sien baie uit daarna, stres wat op die skouers is van die skool, verwagting wat gestel is op jou. Maar ja, is iets waarna ons uitsien en ja, looking forward to it.
Ek dink die voorreg van om by interskole betrokke te wees kan die beste geïllustreer word met die volgende storie. Jy weet, in 2008 op die donderdagmiddag toe die interskole nou afgeskop het, het ons so klompie boys en onderwysers langs die veld gestaan en het begin reën. Ons was later aan deurnat. En toe sê een van ons manne, kerels, julle moet nie kla nie. Elke ander onderwyser in hierdie land sal sy linkerarm gee om te staan waar julle nou staan. En dis wat dit vir ons beteken.
The winter interschools fixture between Boys High and Gim is unlike anything else in school sports. The first team rugby match on the Saturday is the pinnacle of a week-long celebration of rugby matches, hockey matches, old boy reunions and capping ceremonies.
Dit is maar 'n groot hoogtepunt in die skoolloopbaan, die emosionele dag vir jou en jou ouers. Dis elke seun se droom wat daai Vrydag op die verhoog sy eerste span hoetjie sal wil ontvang. Ja, jy loop in die sale en die hele skool kyk vir jou op musiek en so. So is maar net 'n hoendervleis oomblik waarvoor elke seun uitsien.
Om daai week te beskryf is baie moeilik. Ek het voor ek hierna toe gekom het, ek self nie mooi verstaan waaroor hierdie groot bohaai gaan en hoekom almal so opgewonde is oor dit. Net of jy dit beleef het. Dit is regtig 'n besondere atmosfeer, 'n besondere gees wat heers in die dorp op daai stadium. En dit is regtig, soos wat Oudspringbok ook al vir ons gesê dat oud leerlinge van die skool is, dis amper so 'n toets.
My memories of Interschools in my matric year and how nervous we were in the lead up to that totally compares to Rugby World Cup kind of excitement and vibe for me, because the entire town buys into it.
It's amazing the number of old boys who actually come back and have their various reunion groups, and this is absolutely wonderful for the town.
And then tonight is they call it the big brag, and it's basically the old boys getting together. I think there's about 500 of them here tonight, and then they also bring the team here to introduce them to the crowd and wish them well and get the support of the old boys.
Apart from being divided down the colour lines, Paarl itself splits into a north versus south battle. The north generally supporting Gimnasium and the south backing Boys High. This is even evident on game day in the Forest Street Stadium, where the Boys High fans cover the southern side and the Gimmies the northern side of the ground.
Literally again split down the middle. It's great. I love going because, I see lots of my mates that I haven't seen for 10 or 12 years, go there and see them again, so it's an absolutely unbelievable occasion.
People literally come from around the world, from the UK, from America, from all over the show, from over South Africa. They attend and they wear their colours and they try and squeeze into that school blazer who doesn't fit anymore, but they're there.
In that week leading up to the game, even though people around here at SuperSport won't know about it, or won't necessarily have it on their minds, if you bump into another Gimnie like Kobus, Visa or John de Villiers, you'll say, hey, it's a big week, we're excited for the weekend. So there's always a bit of enthusiasm and excitement around it.
The Forest Street Stadium is hallowed turf to the Boys High and Gim communities, with over 20,000 spectators cramming in to watch the match in a test-like match environment.
I think we regard it as one of the biggest inter-schools matches in the world, having about 25,000 people around the field. So it's really an incredible event and something to look forward to.
Yeah, I must admit, I think that the pressure as a school kid for me was slightly more than even playing my first test match. It's just enormous because I think your whole year is dependent on this one game. And if you lose that game, your season's been a disaster. And if you win that game, no matter what the rest of the season is like, it's been a great year.
So die idee is, ek dink maar om kalm te bly. Ek dink kalm te bly en weet luister dit wat ons gedoen het. Ons hou net aan om dit te doen en fokus op elke moment in die wedstryd. Nie te veel op die resultaat fokus nie. Fokus op elke moment in die wedstryd. Die resultaat sal homself kyk.
Heading into the June-July holiday break, Boys High were ranked number 1 in the country and Gim number 2, shaping the Paarl Interschools match to once again determine the country's top-ranked first team.
It's being viewed as the top school sports event in the world, and I mean something like that will inevitably bring pressure and a lot of excitement to it.
Boys High are in the midst of arguably their greatest run ever. By the June holidays, the first 15 had extended their unbeaten streak to 34 matches since the start of 2015.
The previous sort of unbeaten run was in the 1982-1983 year, and we managed 26 matches in a row, but this is really unbelievable.
They've had a great run. They've got a great coach, and it's the first time, I think, in history that they've had a coach, an outside coach who's not a teacher. And I think it's making a huge difference.
It's been nice to see how everybody's bought into it, like I said, and just grown, and the families become stronger and stronger.
Long may that continue, but as I said, hopefully they lose one game at least before Interschools, so that they go into Interschools with that monkey off their back.
Boys High ended the month of May with 2 fine Premier Interschools wins against 2 Springbok factories. First came victory over the mighty Grey College, handing Boys High their first ever back-to-back victories over the Bloemfontein school.
It was very special, and I think the boys worked extremely hard. Obviously, Grey College is an amazing outfit, so it's always a privilege to play against them, and it's become quite a massive interschools between us.
The following week saw Boys High claim an away win over Paarl Gimnasium.
I think there was a bit of sore bodies all over, but I think we recovered really well during that week. The coaches and staff managed us really well. We knew what we had to do against Paarl, and at the end of the day, it paid off.
It's always a challenge to play against Paarl at Makota. This year was no different from that. They really kept us out of the goals. It was only right at the end that we managed to score those tries, but it was really a traditional, tough encounter with Paarl.
Gim too have claimed victory over Paarl, beating the Stellenbosch school 28-24 in their first Premier Interschools encounter back in April.
Popped it up to Captain Fantastic, number 9, Sandberger.
Ek dink ons wedstryd teen Paarl was beslis een van ons hoogtepunte. Ons was reg vir die wedstryd en ons het op die ou end die wedstryd 28-24 gewen.
The Paarl Interschooler is a battle of attrition. 2 arch rivals, evenly matched and equally determined to claim victory. The victory margin is predominantly in single digits, and although Gim has enjoyed the majority of wins in recent years, 2015 was one to remember for Boys High. Having last tasted victory in 2009 under the leadership of Springbok prop Frans Malherbe, Boys High finally ended the drought with a typically hard-fought 16-10 win over the old foe last year.
It was really special. I think what made it amazingly special was just once again to see the hard work pay off and to actually see the boys put in all the effort and then come away with a win after such a long time.
Everybody's running up to the field.
Ja, Boys was seker die beste span op die dag. Het was baie hartseer na die wedstryd, maar ons het geweet ons het weer kans volgende jaar en ja, ons hopelik vir jaar kan ons die dinge regstel.
Victory in a Paarl Interschooler derby is paramount, and it has the ability to make or break one's season.
Om interskole te wen is iets bijzonders vir die kinders. Dit is ook so dat as ons van ons leerlinge vra wat sien hulle na uit of wat hulle graag bereik as hulle die dag nou hier wegstap, wat sal hulle wil onthou? En dan kom dit voor die voet kom dit voor dat hulle sê hulle wil graag wegstap met 'n interskole wen in hulle matriekjaar.
Ja, dit sal die wêreld vir ons beteken. Ons het hard gewerk die pre-season en heel jaar sover. Het sal 'n droom wees wat waar raak in ons matriekjaar in ons span om dit te wen. En ja, sien baie uit daarna.
Boys High took the #1 ranking in South Africa in 2012 and 2015, whilst Gim had the honours in 2013. However, heading into a Paarl Interschooler match as favourites counts for very little on the day.
I have always regarded it as a 50-50 game. It brings out special energy from the boys on that specific day. There were matches in the past that we were expected to lose, which we won, and likewise with Gimnasium that they were expected to lose, which they have won.
I think that's what makes Interschools special, that it's always a tight game and you can never write off the underdog.
When you're going to Interschools, it's level. There's no favourites. It's proven in the past. It will be no different this year.
The 6th of August 2016 will mark the 101st official year of Paarl Interschooler, as two of South Africa's greatest school rugby institutions meet for the single biggest under-19 rugby match in the world.
It's a big crowd out there, and hopefully we can play to our potential. And obviously Paarl has a great side this year, so it's going to be a massive game as always.
If you want a prediction, I must tell you that I've been around long enough to know that trying to predict a winner in the Interschools match is the surest way to lose your money.
Today, we stand for all that is. For our heritage, our tradition, our future. Today, we become.
Watch Paarl Boys High versus Paarl Gimnasium in Mutual and Federal Premier Interschools Rugby this Saturday, live on SuperSport.